Good evening, and welcome to the St. Petersburg by Night podcasting network. Tonight, we present to you our Werewolf the Apocalypse Chronicle, Rage Across Tampa.
Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Twitch channel where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer 5th edition World of Darkness Chronicle set in St. Petersburg and Tampa, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent. I am the lead storyteller of St. Pete by Night and the storyteller for Rage Across Tampa, the Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition Chronicle here on St. Pete by Night. And I am so excited to be back. This is the beginning of season 2 for Rage Across Tampa, entitled The Hunt for Bloody Mary. And I couldn't be doing this alone, of course. We have an amazing cast of characters that make this stream possible. So let's go ahead and introduce them. Players, say hello and introduce yourselves.
Hey everybody, my name's Preston. I play Aiden Goodspeed, a rune of the Gale Stalkers.
Hi everybody, I'm Champ, Champagne, little spider with the face of Jeff Goldblum, whatever you want to call me, and I will be playing Aspen Weiss, Violet Ox Silverfang.
Hey everybody, my name's Noree, and I will be playing Malicious Jester, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
Hey everybody, I'm Walks. I will be playing Lucas Shaw, Ragabash of the Shadow Lords.
So, season 1 saw the conclusion of a very, very troublesome, trying, and difficult story. We saw this pack come together with the call, bringing them all together to build a cairn within Tampa, an area that had been long abandoned by the Guru for almost a decade, over a decade even, as the fall of the Sept of the Weeping Willow caused the Guru that did remain to abandon the area and the nation to all but forget it. During this time, this pack came to know one another, came to trust one another, and began the building. The process that would cost a heavy price for each member of the pack, taking loved ones, taking connections, and while new ones were created, some could never be reformed. But during that time, they learned who they were as Guru. They found their purpose, they heard their calling, and finally, after many, many months of struggling to get a foothold within the area, the cairn was built. The process of cairn building has its own costs, its own drawbacks. While the gathering of spirits and the forming of such a location can be a breath of fresh air for the spirits and the Guru both, it does take something away in order to make such a thing happen. It is a process of investing so much life and energy and power into a specific location that some of that power can never be regained. And for some, it was a heavier cost than it was for others. The Guru of the Evening Star Pack called together all of their resources, their allies, their friends, their mentors from all across the country, bringing them to Tampa to try and help ensure that this ritual, this rite, was a success. And lucky for them, it was. And now, the Sept is reformed. Though small and in its early days, over the past month, it has found its footing. The roots have dug in. The cairn has been made secure. But during that time, goodbyes were said. Members of the pack departed, including Joseph Ashspeaker, who returned to his home in West Virginia, saying that a part of him will always remain in Tampa, but that his calling now takes him elsewhere. But they also gained a new member within the Sept and possibly within the pack, though it is yet to be seen, in Lucas Shaw, a Shadow Lord from Chicago with a rather dubious origin that may bring some new benefits to the pack, but also potentially some new problems as well. As we get into tonight's story, we are going to discuss some of the events that happened during that month since we've been away, to catch everyone up, including the members of the pack, to the present, where the hunt begins. Our story begins tonight with Malicious Jester, who takes a moment to speak to members of her past, Ravenclaw and Gibbous, who made the trek all the way out from Colorado to help bring about this cairn, to establish it, to build it, and to make it a new home for the Guru. So Jester, you find yourself in the Memorial Gardens, the home of the cairn, as Raven and Gibbous are preparing to leave, packing up what belongings they brought, including the necessities they needed for the few weeks that they were in town. But now it's time for them to say goodbye. So as you stand, as they pack up their trunks and their luggage and prepare to go, Raven looks over her shoulder at you, her long, kind of dreaded hair dropping down onto her shoulders. She looks over and says, "You sure you're going to be all right?"
I have my pack. I'll be all right.
I was hoping you were going to say that. Don't forget our arrangement. There's a lot of help that we need still back home.
Yeah, we didn't really get to talk about that much. What is going on back home?
Well, you know all about Endron, right?
Yeah.
Well, it seems that they've set up a new operation in the Rockies, and they are going to try and set up a pipeline moving through the area. And the work that they're intending to do would be devastating to our area, to nature, to Gaia. It's like they're going to bleed her dry. And while we have the means to stop some of the work crews temporarily, you know the juggernaut, the machine that is Endron. And it's just going to keep pushing.
Yeah. Aspen's a environmental lawyer, so I might ask for her advice and just pass it on to you if you want.
Anything you could do would help. We've got some resources out there, but law firms are always looking for the bigger, better deal. So if you have any help you can offer, any guidance to at least slow them down while we try to get our forces together and stake out the area, it would be a great help. But really what we're going to need in the long run is manpower. Not immediately. I know you got this place set up and you got to get it established, but eventually we're going to need you.
Yeah, just call when you need us.
Gibbous quickly zips up one of the bags and hops up, clapping her hands enthusiastically. Jester! Oh my god. It was such a treat to be here, and I haven't been part of a Cairn building in so long. What a rush that was!
It was a lot of fun. It was great to see both of you and the rest of the tribe.
And holy crap, can you fight? Wow! I mean, I saw you fight, and there was like the spirit that was like, roar, and you just were cutting it. I'm so proud of you. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I've been training. Aiden's been a lot of help. Mostly
So,
he beats me up around the area, but...
Beats you up, huh?
Not like that.
Why not? He's good looking. And the wolf kind.
He's like a brother.
Ugh, that's boring. At least give me something to take home, because then we're going to get home and we're going to have to get back to normal life, and it's just going to be like so boring. You got any gossip for me? Anything exciting? What about that boyfriend of yours?
Yeah, that's not a thing anymore.
Oh. I'm sorry.
But there was this one guy at the motorcycle club that was fun. But that was a one-time thing.
Hey, they say the best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody, so
I
good
took
for
that
you.
advice. Mm-hmm.
Although, when it comes to boys, that's just boring. Right, Raven? She looks over and Raven just shakes her head and face palms. Listen. A new pack is one thing. A new Cairn is another. This is still Tampa, and everything I've heard out of this place over the years is bad. So you've always got to watch your back.
I know. I may not have known as well coming in, but I know now.
I know you've been through a lot. I know losing your friends was tough. But you have new friends now, new family. And just be careful with who you connect with going forward. Things are new now, they're different, and this is going to be felt for a long time on both sides, this new Cairn being established. Some are going to take notice, and others, less immediate threats, are going to potentially find their way here.
I'll keep out on the lookout for both the ones I know and the ones I don't know yet.
Good. And if you ever need anything, if I can provide it, you know it's yours.
I know.
She looks back over to the luggage, then looks around. It's a shame the Ghost Council left. This seems right up their alley.
Yeah. When I found out this was the main Cairn of the old sept, it seemed odd. It's like right in the middle of the city.
Well, sometimes that's the most advantageous point, right in the thick of it all. But that also makes it more dangerous.
And they know This was the old Caern, so we have to be extra vigilant.
Yeah. See if you can get some extra security around here, or use money bags to provide some security.
You mean Aspen's friend?
Yeah. Friend. I don't like working with Silver Fangs, but their checkbooks come in handy.
Yeah. But I like Aspen, so.
You should. She's good people. She seems to have a good head on her shoulders, and unlike the others, she knows what it is to rise from the bottom, grow to the top. I respect that about her, even if her choice of patron spirit is questionable.
I think she thinks our choice of patron spirit is questionable.
Well, she's wrong.
She can be wrong.
I know in most packs there's one leader, but you're a leader too. As someone who's been here through the thick of it, through the shit, as more and more young guru come calling to this place, you're gonna have to lead by example. You get a lot more responsibility now, Jess.
Yeah, I guess I do.
But also remember to take some time for yourself.
I will.
Good. She picks up the bags, starts taking them over to the rental car. And Gibbous. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna help her with the bags.
Gibbous also packs up her suitcase, which is surprisingly a shocking, almost neon pink color with little rolly wheels as she quickly wheels it across the concrete and loads it into the back of the car. She turns to you. Oh, Jess, I'm going to miss you so much. This has been so great. It's been so great being with you again. It feels like the old times.
It does. I will hug her. Call me when you get in.
Yeah, we will. We're going on a plane again.
You like
We don't get
plane
to
rides?
leave Colorado very often, so that's very exciting. And she gives you a really tight squeeze before moving over and hopping into the passenger seat of the car. Gibbous finishes loading, or I'm sorry, Raven finishes loading the bags in the trunk and closes it and turns to you. I love you, Jess.
I love you too. I'll hug her.
Be safe. And again, let us know if you need anything. We're only a call away.
I will. You be safe too. And kick Indron's ass if you can.
That's what we do. Oh, before I forget, she reaches into a bag, and what she removes is a large, smooth river stone that looks like it has some etchings in it. When things get settled, talk to, well, whoever your theurge is going to be. This should be able to connect you to us.
Pathstone, correct? I think Joseph talked about this before he left.
That's right. Yeah,
I'll
to
take
create
it.
a moon bridge, it'll make the travel a little bit easier, but while it's like a highway in the Umbra, you got to make sure you get off at the right exit. She passes it over to you, and then awkwardly, she starts to go for a handshake, but then shifts it into a hug and brings you in close, giving you a really, really tight squeeze before settling a hand on your shoulder and giving it another squeeze with a nod of her head before she heads over and gets in the driver's side of the car, turning it on and moving to leave the Memorial Gardens. What is going through your mind during this time?
As I'm watching them leave, really, it's like I'm watching the piece of home that I had kind of disappear, but strangely, it doesn't feel as sad as I thought it would, because I did find a new home here. As dangerous as it is, like with my pack, I feel like I have a new home.
It must feel comforting to find a place that you feel like you belong once again, as you've always kind of been an outcast, even when you were doing your protesting, and then in the first early days of the pack, and even really with the death of Ryder, the idea that you might not belong again. But now you've settled in and found a home. And this is where we move to our next scene. Aiden. This has been a wild few weeks for you, as you've really had to experience something that you never really had to worry about in your time as a guru. The building of a cairn. When you first changed, you were brought into an established sept that had everything in order, had its cairns already built. What was Aiden's thought process throughout the building of the cairn and all of the spiritual energies being channeled through it?
Almost the whole time he was thinking, don't mess this up. He doesn't do spirits, he doesn't know how to communicate with them, and so he was very focused on trying to follow everything that Eliza and Joseph were telling him, trying to follow it like to the letter. But he was on guard because he had come from a established Caern, and he wants Tampa to get to that point. And so he was very vigilant the entire time. Even when Lucas showed up, he was on guard. He didn't trust him. And the whole process was a lot. It's still a lot for him because it's built, but it's not done yet.
And as you're speaking with Terrence, as he's preparing to head back to Georgia, what's going through your head having seen the one you found, the one whose first change you witnessed, in front of you once again?
He's really happy to see him. The fact that he did come back to help with rebuilding it was a big it was very uplifting for him. Really doesn't want him to go though. He understands why though.
You can tell, watching Terrence as he also packs and prepares to leave, that he is very slow in his movements and very hesitant. And as he is packing, he's constantly looking around, trying to take in all of the sights and all of the visions of what was his home just a few months ago, but that he's had to depart not once now, but potentially twice. He pauses as he's putting some of his belongings away and looks over to you. I don't want to go, man. Not again. It was hard enough the first time.
Yeah. I want you to stay. I really do. There's a lot that I want to teach you and I want to show you. But that target that was on our back beforehand, with this the Cairn being built, is awesome, but we have made that target bigger now. And until you are able to fully understand all that you can do, I need you safe. You need to be safe. There's a lot of good guru over there that are going to be able to teach you and get you ready. So for when you do come back, you and I can go kick some ass.
But what about Joseph? I mean, he's leaving. Aren't you going to need Theurge help?
Yes. But we have Eliza. We need a Theurge, nothing against you. We need a Theurge with experience. A guru that's still under 6 months isn't going to quite cut it.
Yeah, I know. I get it. She's really old, man.
Go tell her that.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
I was
also,
One of the
Don't
first things they told me is be afraid of the old ones.
Correct. That's a good thing to live by. Also, don't call her ma'am.
Oh,
She does not like that, apparently. She told me that several months after I've known her. So I'm giving you a heads up for when you come back. No ma'ams or anything, just yes.
okay. That's a new one. Um, what do you think I need to learn to be able to come back soon?
I I don't know too much about what you're going to learn over there, but I need you to absorb everything you can. Uh, Joseph, he had a deep understanding of spirits and how to talk to them, how the Umbra, how it worked, how to traverse through there, the way to read the world whilst being here and reading the Umbra to let us know what was going on. I need you to be able to do that. Joseph left big shoes to fill, but you got big feet, so you'll be all right.
Yeah, looks down at his sneakers. Can I ask you a question? And if it's, I don't want to be offensive or anything like that. Learning all about this, and you probably have better insight than anybody. I don't know how, like, they're all nice and everything up there, but I don't know how to approach interactions with them. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like the weird new kid who's, like, it's like going to a new foster home. Like, I don't know how to be right with them.
I do. I do get that. Um, but there's no right answer. You have to be your own guru. Don't try and don't try and create your own river. You know, it flows with everything else. There's something in the way, just flow with it. So when the conversation comes up, just be you, and not everyone's gonna like you, and that's just kind of part of it. But I like you, and everyone here likes you.
It's a lot of tough guys. Like, they like to scrap and spar, and that's not really my thing. And I was pretty much always taught to avoid fighting as best as possible, unless you absolutely needed to.
Well, your needs here. Um, you're gonna need to learn how to fight. You can sit back and let the fights happen, but when you're just sitting there not letting or just letting the fight happen, you're becoming the hindrance itself. Even someone that is weak that is helping out in a larger fight can turn the tide of it. So learn from them. They're big tough guys, but they have things that they can teach you. They have ways of educating um, those who aren't fighters to show you how you can fight without being a fighter. Does that make sense? Because there's the upfront, which is what I do, but there's other ways to fight.
Okay.
But if they're picking on you, you just give me their names and I'll go talk to them.
Keep that in mind. That that was so strange. That whole process. Like, I'm just felt like I was thrown into the deep end of the spiritual pool.
Yeah, it's a lot. You did great though.
Thanks.
Just do as you're told. The theurgers know what they're talking about when it comes to this kind of stuff. Don't be like your Ragabash and question everything. They know what they're talking about, even though it's weird. Just follow what they're saying. They know what they're doing.
Okay. I'm gonna get back as soon as I can.
I know. We'll be waiting.
Just
okay.
Be safe until then, okay?
I will do my best.
Do better than that.
I can't promise that, but what I can promise is that there will be at least someone here welcoming you when you come back. 90% sure it's going to be me. There's always that little bit. I get a little reckless.
Right. You gotta have the 2% botch possibility.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Are things overall going okay over there, though?
Yeah, I mean, my teacher's really smart. They're really patient with me figuring this all out. It seems like it's not their first rodeo teaching someone new, and so they're being really good about breaking it down in steps.
Good.
They're very kind to me. They've actually got me farming, of all things.
Really?
Working fields and working with plants, and they compare plants to spirits, and they live in this farmhouse near Valdosta up at the border. They're really kind, and he teaches me right. He's like Russian or something. It's very weird.
Interesting.
Yeah. He's a very nice guy, and he looks out for me. They've got me staying with him, and he put me up in this really nice house, and I've got my own room, and it's very nice there, but I can't wait to get back. As nice as it is there, Tampa's my home, and I want to be here with you guys.
You'll be here sooner than you think. But your overall transitions, are they smoother?
Yeah. Okay. The what do they call it? The lupus form?
Yeah.
It sometimes still happens when I'm not expecting it. I think it's just because I enjoy it more.
Yeah.
But the change is very smooth. The one I'm struggling with is
the big one.
That
is the hardest one. It's also the most dangerous one, so take your time with it. But it's one of the most important ones. But take your time, go through the motions of it, get comfortable with it. Your teacher knows what they're doing.
Yeah. They said don't do it unless you absolutely. It's like a break glass in case of emergency situation. Like you don't do it just cause it's something when you really want or really have to protect yourself for others.
Right.
There's that thing they talked about that affects humans. They can't look at us.
Oh, and they get all weird about it?
Yeah. Delirium. Yeah.
That's the word.
He said that's why we need to be very careful, because we don't know how it's going to affect the people around us and cause them to do crazy things.
Yeah. Just be aware of your surroundings.
I will.
Okay.
It's pretty quiet at the farm, which is not very weird and different. I'm so used to the soundtrack of the city, the cars, and just the constant hum of the city that it's really quiet. But I can see the stars. That's kind of cool. Not a lot of light pollution or anything, and
there you go.
Yeah. I'm really glad to have been part of this, the starting of this, and I really hope that I can help see it through.
I know you will. Just let me know when you get to that point, and then I'll get you in contact with Aspen, and then you get to have that fun conversation.
Is it not fun?
It'll be all right. Aspen just gonna have to go do some talk about something about joining here and all that, you're gonna do fine. She already knows who you are, so that easy part, or the hard part's done trying to get to know you.
Okay.
This will just be like, hey, this is gonna be what your job is, kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can do that. Okay. Well, I don't have much to offer, but if you need anything, if there's anything I can do, but I'm going to work really hard and I'm going to focus because I want to get back. I want to be here and I want to get back to the zoo. It's weird not seeing them. I'm hanging out with different wolves, I guess, these days, but I miss them.
Yeah, they're doing well though. I did go and have a nice little chat with them. I let them know what was going on.
That must have been weird.
Yeah, but the best thing you can do for me, he'll walk up and put his hand like on his shoulder. It's be the best theurge you can be. All right, you got it.
Okay.
You're smart. You already were talking to Regina day one, which was odd, but you did it.
I'm used to talking to them. I'm not used to them talking back. That's the strange part is, getting to meet these spirits and these animals and really getting to understand them has been one of the most thrilling but also strange experiences. Like I understood the basics. I could get their instincts, but having full conversations it's neat.
More than I can do.
There's a lot of things you can do that I can't.
Yeah, we all have our role.
Yeah. Well,
He's gonna bring him in for a hug.
he just jumps into the hug almost immediately, giving you a really, really tight squeeze. And almost based off of the vice grip of his fingers around you, it seems like he really, really doesn't want to let go. But after a few moments, he separates, and you can see a little bit of glassy rims to his eyes. Okay. I'll be back soon. Really soon. And I will be ready. I'm going to work twice as hard to be ready.
Good. I look forward to it. Go ahead and call if you need something, though. I'm
I will.
only a little run away.
I will. Okay. Stay cool. It's really, really hot here.
Go have fun farming.
I will. Finishes packing up his bags with a renewed vigor, a purpose, a very strong sense of purpose, and the apprehension that was holding him back upon the beginning of this encounter seems to have all but vanished as he now, with almost like a militant precision, finishes packing up his bags and prepares to head out. Saying goodbye can be a very, very difficult thing, but a promise of a return makes it that much easier. As we transition to our next scene, some goodbyes that you thought were permanent can come back to haunt you. Aspen, the days after the building of the cairn have felt prideful in a lot of ways. Like a sense of accomplishment has emboldened your steps. But Artie hasn't had as good of an experience. He's been colder than usual, quieter than usual, and a little bit more distant, as the rest of the pack has been, mixing it up and hanging out with other members and the guests that have visited. Artie has been detached and seemingly a lot more dour and a little bit more sullen than anyone else. So, a few days after the cairn was built, you find yourself at home at Artie's apartment, and he's sitting at his computer desk, but as you look over, you can see that the monitors aren't even on. The computer isn't even running. Instead, he is holding what looks to be a small stuffed animal in his hands that he has propped up on the desk and is staring at it in the eyes as if it's staring back at him. And it looks like it's a teddy bear that has been through the ringer, to say the very least. It is dirty. It looks like it's been restitched many times. One of the ears is completely missing off of the head and has just been stitched up. And he doesn't really even look over in your direction as you come out of the bedroom. He's just staring at it.
Aspen will walk out of the bedroom and head to the vending machine that she's been keeping stocked, pop one of the energy drinks out, walk over to the computer, squat, have her elbows on her knees next to his chair, put the energy drink down, and just kind of sit with him silently for a little bit.
The silence lingers for several moments, but after a little while, you hear him clear his throat. But it sounds very dry and gravelly at first, but after a moment, settles. I didn't think I'd ever have to hear him again. I said my goodbye, and I meant it, and I don't know what to do.
She'll reach over and squeeze his hand. You do understand it wasn't him. The goodbye you said was the one you wanted.
What if it was? How can we say for sure? He was calling like he was lost and he was scared and that I'd abandoned him. That it was my fault. How do we know that wasn't him? How can we be sure? Eliza's spoken about spirits existing on the other side that were once. I'm trying to remember that it's not, but the things he said, the way he sounded, it felt like him.
She'll slowly twist the chair away from the monitors while still squatting to look into his eyes. Tell me about him. Tell me your favorite memory about him.
He loved going to the rec center. He loved playing basketball, and before Mom passed, that was one of my favorite things to do with him when she was at work. We would just go and we would play, and it felt like he could do anything. He was so good. And he kept saying that he was going to become a professional. And that when he did, we wouldn't have to worry about money ever again, and we'd be in this big house, and he'd play for the Orlando Magic. But I didn't care about all that. I just wanted to see him happy. I wanted to see him inspired and doing something that he loved to do. And he loved playing basketball. And if I could make him forget what home was like, how difficult it was, how Mom was getting worse, I wanted to spare him all that. So he didn't have to see it. So he didn't have to feel it and experience it and live through it. I just wanted to give him a break. And when we were there, it felt like he could hold his head up a little higher, that his shoulders seemed a little less weighed down, and that made me happy.
I know you loved him very dearly, and I know he loved you. It's hard not to. But I think he knows. I think he knows how much you cared about him and how much you wanted the best for him. And I think this is how I know it's not real. If he were to reach out to you, if he were to somehow able to reach out to you, he'd be happy. He'd be excited to know about your life. He'd be excited to hear what you had going on. He'd be happy for you. And spirit... Banes have a weird way of knowing what hurts us the most. And they wanted to hurt you. And I don't think your brother would ever want to hurt you.
What if it's worse over there? Not better. Like, what if it's like Dante's Inferno or something, and it's not peaceful and it's not good? What if it's bad? What if because of what I did, because of how it happened, it's worse? What if he really is suffering? I couldn't
He's not
take
he's
that.
not suffering, Artie. He's not suffering. And you can't hurt yourself with that thought over and over and over. He sounds like a wonderful human being. And I have to believe, and I want you to believe, that he deserves to be somewhere good. And he is somewhere good.
I want to believe that too. I really do. I want to believe that there's heaven or Valhalla or whatever they call it. I want to believe that he gets to live, or at least be in peace and happiness, because he deserves nothing less. Just this makes me wonder if I was starting to lose myself, forget why I was doing this, forget that I was being selfish.
Why? Because you were happy.
Yeah. I'm getting to have opportunities he's never going to get to have.
Someone told me not so long ago that we have to believe that we deserve a happy ending.
Yeah.
I think when Gaia chooses whoever she chooses, she knows that we suffer. And she picks who she picks. And I don't believe that she would openly have the ones around us suffer too.
I just wish it would stop costing us. We just keep paying and paying and paying. And hell, we might not even get to see the end of this. We might never get to win. We just pay until we can't pay anymore, until everything is taken.
And what if that is what happens? What if we lose? What if We can't do the things we so desperately want to do here. There's moments that we all get to have. The moment I saw you flicking that little tab on your energy drink, driving me absolutely insane, that's a moment. Driving up here with Aiden, that's a moment. Meeting all of you, that's a moment. Having that conversation in the car where I got to hear about your life, that's a moment. And if we weren't doing what we're doing, we wouldn't have those moments.
When we first were talking to Eliza and seeing how far gone she was, I couldn't help but judge and be like, I'm never going to be like that. I'm never going. How does somebody get that far? But now I'm starting to understand. Losing him was the most difficult thing in my life. More than my mom, more than being alone all these years, more than anything else. But I can tell you with absolute certainty, if I lose you, I'm done. And I don't want to lose you.
You're not gonna lose me. She grabs his face so he makes eye contact with her again. You're not going to lose me.
I believe you. I'm sorry, I've just been a mess. I just hear it every time I close my eyes. I see it every time I go to sleep. Fucking Banes, man.
That's why there's the term bane of my existence, right?
That's an understatement. Was this what it was like for you?
Yeah, there was. It's hard. And it's hard for you, and it was hard for me, and it's going to continue to be hard for the both of us.
At least we'll have each other, right?
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Me neither.
But listen, okay, just like you told me, can't sit and I don't know, what did you say about it being cold and chilly and something or other? I don't know, you're better with words than I am in these moments. We're gonna get up and we're gonna make moments.
Then let's start now. He stands up and pushes the desk chair away, the wheels and the casters on it spiraling as it pushes off to one side, and he kneels down in front of you. I don't ever want to know a life without you. I don't ever want to have a life without you. Aspen, You're not just my alpha. You're everything to me. You're my reason. So, if you wouldn't mind, my shoe is untied. Could you get that for me?
You're an idiot.
But he breaks out into the first smile you've probably seen in a few days. I love you.
I love you too.
I'm yours. I mean that. And I'll be better. I promise.
Take your time. You're allowed to feel what you're feeling, and I don't want you to feel like I'm pushing you to move through those feelings too quickly.
You're not. You're doing exactly what I need. You're being exactly what I need. You're my leader, and I will follow you wherever you go.
Good. And if you scare me like that, I am gonna knee you in the face next time.
I'd probably deserve it.
Okay, but what do you want to do?
Well, we've got the Cairn, right? And I've been thinking, or I was thinking, leading up to the building, we need security. It was good when we had all these people in town, and as much as I appreciate Mr. Morningkill's efforts and his assistance, we need to learn how to stand on our own 2 feet. So I think that we need to get the gardens some upgrades, some necessary upgrades, security-wise. What they've got, yeah, it covers what they need, the basics, but we need to prepare. And honestly, I think we need to go on the offensive. I think we need to start thinking more seriously about not just protecting ourselves from the leeches, but we need to strike back. We need to stop being afraid of them and remind them what it is to be afraid of us. Because this is our home. It's our place. It's our cairn. And if we're going to build a sept, we need to make a statement. One that shows the rest of the nation that we're to be respected and not talked about like a lost cause. So, I set up a little program and talked to some spirits, and he reaches over and pulls out a folder. And as he does so, he opens the folder and splays out a series of printed off images, photographs that look to be from security cams and traffic cams. And he slides them across to you. And as you look across the displayed images, there seems to be several of the downtown area, more specifically, like deep downtown. And in several of the images, with a little kind of facial recognition box around, you see a stout woman, just barely over 5 feet, with short curly hair, a leather jacket, jeans, boots. This is what they were afraid of. This is what needs to go. I have a feeling, based off of what I've seen, that she's been their source of power, their battering ram. Forget Baitman, forget all of the others. Yes, hitting them would be good, but if we take this down, I think we have a much better shot at the others. But I don't think we're ready yet, but I think we can get ready.
Is she that Bloody Mary that Eliza was talking about?
From what I understand, yeah. We'd have to confer with Jester. She was the one to see her in the prison, but based off of the footage that I was able to find around the prison that day, and based off of Jester's description, I think this is her.
Okay. She's a lot shorter than I expected. But people could say the same for me. But okay. It's something.
We'll get our defenses up. I'll see about reinforcing the gates, putting up security cameras, finding a way to make this place a stronghold. But I do think we need to start getting some reconnaissance and tracking her down and looking for an opportunity, preparing for one.
Okay. I was planning on talking to Aiden about looking into Baitman and Co. So hopefully maybe he can glean some information that would give us a better picture of what her motivations are, where she's usually around, if there's any correlation. So I think it's a good start. I think we can do that. We can make that happen.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's our best bet.
She stacks the papers back together and kind of puts them in a neat pile. But that's not really what I meant.
What do you mean?
The threat is a threat and will be a threat. All of our threats will continue to be threats. Even if we, say, go on a trip.
Trip?
Doesn't have to be a far trip. You can't go too far. If the threats start, threatening, then we have to be close. But that doesn't stop us from having moments, right?
Yeah, I'd like that.
So here's my thought. I remember not too long ago you told me about the pirate ship.
Yeah, the dinner cruise sunset thing.
Let's go make that happen.
Do you really want to head to that side of the bridge? Last time didn't work out so well.
I mean, sex clubs on the ocean, not really my thing either. We'll see, but maybe this one's better.
Yeah, it's probably too classy, and if we find out, we can just jump overboard and swim back to shore.
Exactly. It'll be a story.
That'd be nice. Maybe we get fancy and get a hotel room over there for a couple of days and just get away. There's some other cool things to do over there.
And maybe, just maybe, she gives you a sly smile as she's still kind of squatted. If you're lucky, I'll walk on the beach with you.
Whoa. Okay, you can't be messing with my emotions now. I'm sorry for the trick I pulled earlier, but if I'm gonna hold you to that.
Well,
I know you hate the sand. We'll get some sand shoes, or I don't know, I'll roll out a carpet for you that you can walk on.
only if, you might get lucky.
I've been lucky every single day since we met. I'd like that. Let's do it. With some reinvigorated energy, Artie actually gets up and seems to walk with a little bit more purpose. It's hard to forget those old memories, but making new ones may just be the trick to helping bring him back from a very, very dark place. Now we're going to transition to our final scene before the break, with the newest arrival to the pack of the Evening Star, to the Sept of Tampa. Lucas, over the weeks following the Cairn's building, you've had to find a place, find a way to live, as this appears to be your new home, your new calling, at least for now. So describe to me what has been Lucas's motivations and what he's been doing with his time now that the Cairn is built, but he has yet to find roots and find purpose, other than those spiritually that have been wrought. What has Lucas been up to?
So, not a part of what Lucas really talks about with a lot of people is he really likes things that grow. So in his truck, he has brought down some bulbs, seeds, plants, various things. So he kind of made his way around Tampa, guerrilla planting a lot of different things about where he was, and came into contact with some other people who shared like-minded philosophies and techniques, although a bit more on the legal side than the breaking into people's private territories and planting this, that, and the other. So he's made some friends, some like-minded individuals that don't exactly judge him for who he is or what he's done.
And one of those individuals is Danielle, a nice young lady that you met who works at the Botanical Gardens, who shares a similar philosophy and a similar passion for things that grow. Over the time of getting to know her, you've established quite a rapport, and once it became clear that you didn't have necessarily a place to stay, that you were looking in the real estate market, which can be very pricey in Florida, looking for a place to lay down roots, she offers you an apartment above the garage of her home. As she got to know you, she found common ground and a respect for you, and so she invites you to come stay. The rent is affordable, the location is decent, and it's a chance to have a little space to yourself. Since arriving in Tampa, it's been cluttered, it's been crowded, there's been a lot of coming and going and strangers. You're finally going to have your own little slice of home. So as you arrive at the apartment with the few belongings you have from your truck, you settle in. It's not much. There's some sparse furniture that Danielle pulled out of storage and some things that have been purchased at second-hand stores. But you find yourself settling into the apartment, and as you go to stay your first night there, you look around, and while it is kitschy in certain parts, you could see yourself making a home here. So as you unpack your belongings and start making it feel a little bit more like you feel a tingle starting at the base of your back, crawling up your spine, and you feel a slight weight settling on your shoulder. Even though there's nothing there, it's a very strong grip, like a presence that is not familiar, or not unfamiliar, I should say, but also not entirely welcome. And the voice speaks. So, where do we find ourselves now?
He'll sigh and just kind of continue unpacking. This is my place, not your place.
Wherever you go, I go, Lucas. That's the way it works.
But that's not entirely true, because there's that one place I can go that you're not welcome, right?
There's a slight hiss in retort. This feels very familiar. This area has belonged to us for quite some time.
Well, I suppose that's why I'm here, isn't it? But it's not like you can stop me, is it?
Why would I stop you, Lucas? Why would I stop you when there are others that can?
That's how it's gonna be, huh?
It doesn't have to be. We can continue our arrangement, but I need something. And you're the one to help me get it.
What is it?
I feel something in the air, in the ground. There's a place not far from here. A place strong with my power. A dormant place. I just wish you to take us there. That's all.
And what do I get out of this?
Peace.
You know, it's not like I'm by myself anymore.
Do you think they trust you?
I mean, I wouldn't trust me, but for some reason, something wants me here. So I'm here. So it's not like they have a choice.
And if they knew what you'd done, what we did, even though we were right, how safe do you think you would be?
Look, just keep your head down, and I'll see what I can do. I'm not saying we're going to rush right there right now. I'm not saying we're going to rush right there anytime soon. But look, I understand what you want, and I understand you want to be there. But if something happens to me, you're not going to get what you want either. So let me do what I do.
I can be patient, Lucas. For now. And I will hold up my end of the bargain. But we will revisit this.
I'm sure we will. Oh, we definitely will.
Good. Then welcome home. Settle in. We're gonna be here a while.
Yeah, I think we are.
You feel the pressure on your shoulder subside slowly as if something is uncoiling and sliding away. You feel that same tingling going down your spine until it dissipates and moves away, and you find yourself once again in the apartment, which moments ago felt like a positive change, positive possibilities, but now feels a little bit crowded. What's going through Lucas's mind now?
He's gonna. His first instinct, as soon as he feels that thing leave, is he's going to make sure that his weapon was in reach. He'll realize that it's not, and be very upset with himself that he was not prepared, that he was caught off guard, that he was snuck up on. He's nervous. He kind of looks around, paces, opens up a couple of the coolers that he has that have small seedlings or small plants that he has started, and kind of pick them up and set them in the windowsill and just kind of stare at them for a moment to try to recenter himself and to calm himself back down.
While homes can be built, they don't truly become a home until someone inhabits it. It can be a structure. All of the beams can be in place. Everything can be moved in. But until one truly inhabits an area, it's just a house, not a home. What kind of home it's going to become, only the future will tell. But for now, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break, allow everyone to get up, stretch their legs, and we'll be back with the second half of the Season 2 premiere of Rage Across Tampa. Enjoy art from our community. We have several new pieces in there for your perusal, and we'll be back in just a few moments. See you soon, everyone.
St. Petersburg by Night is brought to you through collaborations with our partnered vendors, Wolfpack Dice, Ember Fox Dice, Dragon Ink Dice, Bear the Bard, Champs Tramps, Penshi Artista, and Chromatic Creations. Links to our partnered vendors, as well as our Twitch and YouTube channels, can be found on our website, stpbynight.com. The official theme song for St. Petersburg by Night is Vampire by Faith and Failure. You can find them at faithandfailure.com. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all socials with the hashtag St. Pete by Night. If you wish to support our program, you can do so at coffee.com/St. Pete by Night to help keep the stories rolling.
Welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us through the technical difficulties we had in the first half. Hopefully we'll have a stable connection through the remainder of the episode. But for those of you who missed out during the interruptions, we will have the fully uninterrupted episode available here on Twitch and on YouTube on Sunday. So never fret, you will get to see everything you missed due to the interruptions, but big apologies for that happening, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we won't be dealing with any more issues in the second half. In the first half, we saw some very difficult goodbyes being said. We saw a very, very strong reconnecting between Aspen and Artie. And we saw Lucas find a new home, though it might not be the comfortable home that he's hoping for. Now we find ourselves outside of the motorcycle club a few weeks later. Jester, over that time, you've really been trying to discover Ryder, to learn as much as you can about the man who sacrificed himself to aid you in helping your friends escape. You've been trying to understand what the Sept was like all those years ago before it fell, before it dispersed. And during that time, you've been going through a lot of his personal belongings, going into his storage unit and uncovering mementos and memories of the past. But you've also taken to his club, his motorcycle gang. You've started to endear yourself to them, to get to know them. One particular member a little bit more than anyone else. But you've also started to pick up some of his habits. And one of those habits is motorcycles. And so now, on this particular day, You sit outside of the motorcycle bar looking at the large Harley Davidson motorcycle that once belonged to Ryder. You've taken it for a few test drives around the parking lot, being very, very hesitant at first, as this is your first experience handling such a vehicle. But you're starting to get the hang of it a little bit more and more. And from your connections through the motorcycle gang, you're learning what it is to upkeep such an important vehicle, the basic maintenance, the day to day, the care that's put into it. So as you're working on the motorcycle this particular evening, tightening some of the ratchets, changing the oil, checking the engine, you feel yourself sense a presence that wasn't here before. The motorcycle club is empty on this particular day, and though you constantly drive by to ensure that everything is as it should be, you weren't expecting anyone on this particular day. They're out doing a charity ride to give some good face to the club despite its very intense reputation. But as you're sitting there with the ratchet in your hand, you hear a voice whisper in your ear. Not too tight now. You don't want to strip it like the last one.
I will try not to jump.
As you look around, trying not to be startled, you see Ryder standing on the other side of the motorcycle, his hands one on the seat, one on the handlebars, leaning over, watching inquisitively as you work the ratchet on the bike.
So this is where I go insane, right? I'm going insane now.
If you're insane, you might as well take me along with you. You're really helping yourself to my shit ever since I died, aren't you? My boys, my personal belongings, now my bike? That's a step far, don't you think?
Maybe it's the memories.
There's a lot of memories.
I'm getting a lot of them.
Wish I could say they were all sunshine and roses, but we both know that's not the case.
It's not. What are you doing here, Ryder?
Honestly, I don't know. Last I knew, everything was said and done. I had fulfilled my purpose. But then, she wasn't there. So I figure, with the Cairn starting and all, congrats on that, by the way. Thought
Thanks.
you could use a little bit more of my witty charm and startling good looks in your life. You can't be me if you don't know me, kid.
Fair. I've been trying to find out more about you and the old Seps.
What would you like to know?
She, you mean Holly?
At first, he stiffens slightly from across the motorcycle, even though he's not fully present. You can tell based off of the reaction that there is sort of a visceral sting to that. Yeah. She, before the cairn fell, she was with me defending it. She didn't make it. I thought, when I finally did pass on, she and I could be together again. But when I got there, she wasn't there. Made me think maybe I was paying penance for all the stupid and bad shit I've done. That I was in hell or something, but no, I was in the right place. But it couldn't be the right place because she wasn't there.
I know nothing of what comes after. I mean, Eliza's said rumors, so there are other places she could have gone.
You know I'm not one for spirit shit, kid. I'm as new to this as you are.
You want us to find out?
Maybe. But let's talk about you. You know this thing can go more than 15 miles an hour, right?
Yes. I've only ridden a motorcycle the 3 times I've been on this one.
Oh, for fuck's sake, I've never had kids. I don't know what it is to teach a kid to ride a bike. Okay. It's all about balance. You can use speed to make up for balance to a certain degree, but you gotta have awareness. You gotta keep your body even on the seat. That butt of yours, while cute, is sitting too far to the right. You gotta center it in the middle of the seat.
Okay.
Even weight distribution on both sides. You just gotta feel the road. Every bump, every pothole, you gotta learn it so that you can learn to predict when they're coming, to see when they're coming. As bullshit theurge as it sounds, you gotta become one with your bike.
This sounds a lot like movies I've seen where one has to become one with their weapon. Is it the same with the glaive?
Awful. Yeah, it is. It's true, as cheesy and Hollywood as it sounds. It's got to become a part of you, an extension of you. And if you treat it right, like you have been, it'll treat you right.
Stand up, drop the wrench into the toolbox next to it. Let's give it a try.
Let's do it. As you stand up and mount the motorcycle, starting the engine, the spirit of rider steps back slightly, getting out of your way, almost out of instinct rather than need, as what's the worst that's going to happen to him. But as you start up the bike, go ahead and roll me a wits and drive check.
Okay. Before that, I would like to activate my new background ancestors.
Okay. Go ahead and describe what that does.
So, I access ancestral memory from, well, in this case, from Garu from the past. This case, it'll be Ryder. To actually, where is it? Yeah, for the scene, I can access a skill that they have used as a free action.
Okay.
But I have to roll the amount of ancestors I have in order to see how many additional dice I would get for the scene.
Okay.
I got 2 successes.
All right. So you get 2 additional dice to your check.
Two successes.
2 successes. It's a little rocky at first. You just trying to keep the handlebars straight, trying to do what he said and adjust your weight to get proper balance. But as you do so, you feel yourself growing more and more confident. And looking around, you don't see the spirit of Ryder anymore as he had manifested before, but you feel that you aren't alone on the bike. It's good, kid. It's real good. But the real test is Florida drivers. So why don't we take her out on the road?
Sure.
After a couple more laps in the parking lot, you steer out onto the street. And at first, you're moving down suburban roadways, not too highly trafficked, not any more than usual. And as you get more comfortable with it, you see the upcoming highway entrance. And in your ear, you hear, "I dare you."
I'll get on.
Steering onto the highway, you start going up the on-ramp. And up ahead, the traffic is starting to pick up a little bit more. Those highways going through Tampa are hectic, to say the very least. So I need you to roll another dexterity and drive as you try to maneuver your way into traffic, keeping the bike as steady as possible.
I'm going to spend a willpower.
Okay.
Cool. I got 3 successes.
Feeling your heart start to beat a little bit faster, feeling the adrenaline starting to course through your veins, you take a deep and steadying breath and just lay on the gas a little bit more, picking up a little bit more speed, trying to find your way into a small space in between a large 12-wheeler truck and a small sedan that seems to be not giving you a lot of room to enter, but using your grit and your confidence, you muscle your way into the traffic. And lo and behold, the driver that is almost tailgating this truck falls back. And while they lay on the horn, you hear Ryder in your head say, "Ah, fuck 'em." You continue your ride down the highway, weaving in and out of traffic. And you feel the wind brushing over your face, through your hair. You feel the freedom and the power behind this bike. Now, while there are other makes of Detroit steel and other, vehicles on the road, you feel during this experience that you are the alpha of the roadway. That despite the fact that you are a motorcycle, and if one of these trucks wanted to do some serious damage to you, it could, you don't fall back. You don't back down. You take control and you rule the roadway. And you do so with such power and intimidation that the other drivers can't help but let you have your way with the road. You drive, and while it only feels like minutes, time flows by seamlessly. You haven't felt this type of freedom the entire time you've been in Tampa. You haven't felt this type of freedom possibly ever in your life. It feels like flying. You feel the road beneath you. You maneuver around various potholes. You can feel the cement whirring beneath the tires. And you drive. And you feel a weight lift off of your shoulders. All the grief of having to say goodbye to Raven and Gibbous. Even that grief that you still carry for having to say goodbye to your friends and goodbye to Ryder. None of that bothers you while you're on the road, while you're on the bike. You see a few other motorcyclists, and instinctually you raise up a hand, signaling them, greeting them, and they do the same in response with respect. You feel a longing during this experience, as if you've missed this, even though you've never truly had it. there's a peace and a calm in the chaos of the traffic, of the bike, of the road. And before you know it, you're looking up and you're seeing signs for exits for Orlando, which is easily over an hour away from where you departed. But it doesn't stop you. You keep riding, keep driving, keep living this exhilarating sensation. And before you know it, you see water. You pull the bike to a stop and you look out upon the ocean of the opposite coast, the east coast of Florida. And while the Gulf may seem impressive, this completely dwarfs that. It is just the open beyond. Nothing in sight, even though you know there is life out there, even though you know there is another continent across that water. Something about looking at the ocean just feels like if you wanted to, you could just go out to the edge and fall right off. That you could sail forever. Again, that voice whispers to you. Gorgeous, ain't it?
Yeah.
One
It's
of the
funny.
Oh, go ahead.
I've been dreaming about the ocean since I was a kid. It's kind of amazing to see, though.
Anything like you dreamed?
Better.
One of the last rides I took before everything went down was with Holly out here to this very spot. Kind of wanted to see it again.
It's a nice spot.
Yeah. You're not going crazy, kid. I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here. And we're going to make the best of it as best as possible.
Okay. I mean, to be honest, I don't think I mind you being here.
We'll see if you feel that way in a few weeks. But for now, it's nice.
Okay, but seriously, when I'm in the shower, do not come visit me. It's just weird.
Fine.
Bathroom at all. Bathroom at all.
Fine. Deal.
And it's gonna be tough, but I'm gonna probably need your help with Mary.
You're going after the bitch, huh?
When I'm ready. When we're ready.
Good. We owe her one.
I think we owe her a lot more than one. How many died?
Too many.
That's the number we owe her.
I don't blame you. I hope you know that. For what happened.
I know.
I knew what I was signing up for, and I knew what was right. And I'm glad I did it.
I will forever be grateful for what you did.
And I you. For the first time in a very, very long time. I'm not angry anymore.
Good.
That being said, I'm not in a rush for you to come join me.
I'm not really in the rush to join you either. I kind of like living.
And you gotta be smart. And you gotta get better.
I'm trying.
If you're going after Mary, you gotta be better than I was. And I was
I know.
pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I saw you throw Aiden into the wall. Or the cage.
Child's play. I know you're inheriting a mess. And not just my mess, but the mess of many of us. But I'm glad you're doing it. I'm glad you got the people you got. And I think you're going to be able to do something I couldn't.
Well, I think you're going to be right with me. I do have a question, though.
Yeah.
If you could do something different, what would you have done?
It's a really tough question.
You can think on it if you want and answer later.
You knew the position we were in at the time. The odds were against us. We tried. We tried to hold out. We tried to outlast. But we were dwindling. Our numbers decreasing seemingly by the day. I made the call for us to strike back. But I waited. She told me we didn't have the numbers, and I waited. And honestly, she was probably right, considering the way things turned out. But if I could have done something differently, I would have liked to have gone out on offense, not defense. Whether that was the right call or not. And I probably would have sent those who were going to go away anyway away, rather than forcing them into a position to leave. And I would have known more.
So, from what I take away from that is the people I want at my side, my pack side, have to be 100% in.
If you're going to trust 100% of your life to them, then yeah.
It's good to know.
I'm not going to be so morbid as I once was and say, don't trust anybody. Just be very picky about who you do. Yeah, we're all guru, but we're also human. And humans can be tempted. Humans can be
Assholes.
manipulated. Yeah, took the word right out of my mouth.
Yeah, I know. I've had my share of humans even before the change.
But don't be afraid to take a chance. It's not always gonna pay off. But if you close your heart to everyone, you'll gain nothing. If you take a chance, take a risk, yeah, you might get burned. But you find the right people. The rewards make up for any pain you might suffer in the process.
You know, your heart wasn't fully closed to us when we first met. Or later. I think it's why you're not angry anymore.
Yeah, you little parasites got me.
We have our ways. I mean, come on. Aspen is short, but like a fierce, just a force to be reckoned with. Artie and Aiden are adorable in their own ways.
What about you?
Would you say I have that good charm when I want it?
Yeah. You also got that bitch energy when you need it, too. It's useful.
Oh. It's a big mix of Givus and Ravenclaw. And me.
You're in for a hell of a fight.
I know. I saw.
I don't know how long I'm going to be around, but I'm going to be around as much as I can. I don't know how any of this works.
Okay.
Also, the blade looks good on you.
Thanks. It's
Couldn't
kind
have
of
asked for a better person to take it.
that actually means a lot.
Now you just gotta stop swinging it like a clumsy toddler, but, you know.
Hey, I am getting better.
Yeah. Just gotta keep that fire stoked in you, that's all.
Yeah, and piss Aiden off a little more so I can have some more training.
I think you're doing a fine job of that on your own. I heard you were roommates.
Yeah. I kind of just beat him at video games and talk shit, and it really works because then he wants to show me how he can actually fight.
He's a good one. Loyal.
He is.
Most of the lupus-born ones are. If you need something, call for me. And if I hear it, I'll be there.
Okay.
Let's go home.
Turn back to the bike. Get on.
Start riding the bike home. And it's a smooth ride. Again, the hours have passed, traffic has died down. You feel that presence lift slightly, and you're driving on your own, but you're not doing too bad. It wasn't as freeing or nostalgic as it was on the way out. But it is still something that connects with a part of you. You still feel a fondness for it. And as you make the long drive home. We'll transition to our next scene. Trust is something that must be built and earned. It's not something that just happens because a wayward soul drifts into town and helps with a single ritual. No, to build trust in a pack, it is something that is forged like steel. And you have to take a lot of hits to meld that steel into the shape you want it to be. So as we get to the present, Aspen, having had a nice getaway with Artie, going out on the pirate ship, taking a hit of your own on walking on the beach with him, seeing the joy in his eyes, even though he doesn't force it upon you for too long. You feel like you have him back. So now it's time to deal with some new business. You've lost a member of your pack, leaving you a little short-handed, but could you potentially gain one in Lucas? What prompts you to call this meeting?
After going on a well-needed trip with Artie and feeling like that go tension that was in the air, that's been in the air since trying to build the cairn, having that bit of reprieve, it allowed her to open her thoughts and kind of get away from the fog and everything of having so much to do, and brought her to the thought process of, well, if we have another guru within Tampa, we can't just let him off doing whatever it is he wants to do. We've seen that before with Ryder. Probably not the best idea. Also a potential asset along the potential offense that is Bloody Mary, because that conversation with Artie as well has brought some thoughts to the forefront of we need more reinforcements, I guess. So she decides to reach out to Lucas and see what he's all about and what he's really wanting in all of this being here.
And where are you having him meet with you?
At the cairn.
So Lucas, having received word from Aspen, the proclaimed sept leader of this newly established sept in Tampa, what are your thoughts as you make the drive over to the Memorial Gardens, which you haven't seen in a couple of weeks as you've been settling into Tampa?
Lucas is his first concern is whether or not Morning Kill is still there. Hopefully he's left because Lucas is not comfortable around Morning Kill. But seeing as Aspen specifically reached out to him, he's going to take that as some form of initial olive branch, considering their first meeting did not go so well. And he might feel a genuine level of excitement because he's not had a group before, and it has been a long time since he was even around significant other guru. So he wants to take this meeting. He wants to have this conversation in good faith. But there is that level of suspicion that he has that he doesn't necessarily trust other people's decisions, not having known what kind of decisions they have made in the past. So he's wary to an extent.
So as your truck pulls up to the gates of the Memorial Gardens, roll me a wits and awareness check.
Three successes.
As you approach the gates, it looks like they have been replaced. The last gates that you saw before were simply a chain and padlock situation. They would be manually closed, a chain wrapped around the bars, and a padlock pulled on. But as you drive up this time, the gates look like they have been replaced with new steel, and you can see security cameras up on the corners of the large stone wall that surrounds the facility looking down. As the vehicle pulls up, the gates stay closed for a moment, but after several moments automatically start to whir and open, proceeding to allow you to drive down the driveway and into the memorial gardens themselves. Driving through the Spanish moss draped trees, the place looks well kept, well maintained, and it feels a little more different since the last time you were here. When you first arrived, a cairn hadn't been established. Now there is a thriving sense of life in a very unique location, in the fact that this is a cemetery and it usually has the stillness of death. You can feel something is alive here. So as you take your drive down the driveways, pulling up to a set of buildings that seem to be the crematorium as well as where people are interred and the administrative offices are, you find a parking spot, put the truck into park, and begin walking, passing a large fountain that seems to be the centerpiece of the atrium or entryway into this area. The water is cascading from a spout at the top down onto a gathering bowl where it showers down into the main basin down below. As you approach, you find Aspen standing outside, waiting for you. And the scene is yours.
He's gonna see the fountain, and he's gonna kind of stop and look at Aspen for a second and turn back around and go back to his truck, rifle through the back of it, and pull out a baggie, and then turn and continue to walk. And as he kind of walks past the fountain, he'll pull out what looks like a bulb and just drop it into the fountain, and then continue walking towards Aspen.
As he turns around and is doing his whole thing and comes back, she's just where she was being very stoic and just standing, waiting. Now she's confused and wondering what he's doing, but then goes back to the upright, holding herself as tall as she possibly can in her barely 5-foot form. Nods to Lucas.
Boss? You wanted to see me?
I do. Care for a walk?
Look, yeah, that's fine. Why do you people live down here in this absolutely wretched humidity and heat? This is not an okay thing. This is why. I don't understand it. Yeah, let's get this walk over with and then get into some air conditioning, because this is awful.
If you prefer, we can go inside.
No, the walk is good. I've not really seen a lot of everything other than a few instances, so please, by all means.
Well then, and she continues to start walking down the trails. She'll turn to Lucas. So, you decided to stay?
Did enough of the road thing. Road thing's fine. Considering what I did when I got here, as surreal and confusing as an experience as that was, I didn't really feel like I ought to leave, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot more sense than you know. Are you doing okay? Did you put down any roots?
Yeah, I got in cahoots with some fellow plant people. It's a conversation for another time. But one of them put me up in a little place. It's good. It'll make do. I don't need much.
Perfect. Well, it's all well and good. Should we continue small talk and pleasantries, or should we just get right down to business?
Well, it's a complicated scenario when someone of your position calls upon someone like me, and you're meeting me alone. That's going to be seen as two different things. Either something scandalous, or you're going to just dress me down as you need and give me the riot act. So you choose how this is going to go. I don't want to interfere with your image as it would be with your friends.
I think they'll be just fine.
Okay.
I did want to to ask you a couple of questions because I feel after the building of all of this, we didn't get to have a full proper chat. The adrenaline and excitement of everything kind of got me pulled several different directions.
I mean, I'm not gonna tell you I'm gonna answer every single question you're gonna ask me, but feel free.
Okay, good. You seem very open, so I might as well just start with the most pertinent. Do you mind telling me more about the markings?
Yeah, it's usually the first topic of conversation, so it's not unexpected. So yeah, I mean, it's not any different than the story that I told you. Like, my first job was kin-seeking. Considering how I was raised and how long I was raised in that environment, it seemed like a natural choice. The Sept sent me out. I rather quickly was able to find a group, 3 of them, at the college there in downtown Chicago, and so I watched them from a distance. There were points in time I couldn't see them. There were points in time I had no idea where they are. So I started following them a little bit more inconspicuously. And that's when I discovered what they were doing. And what they were doing was heading down the wrong path. So, contrary to events that transpired later on, my first instinct wasn't to murder them right then and there. I took that situation back to my Sept. Chain of command, right? So, young Shadow Lord, our reputation always precedes us. Obviously, somebody may have thought I was trying to manipulate the position or the situation to my own ends. They didn't believe me. And to be honest, I second-guessed myself. Maybe I didn't see what I thought I saw. So I decided, get a closer look and keep watching. Bit time passed. Found him again. Got a little too close. Things didn't go so well. So, when I brought back the evidence, they couldn't not believe me. But there were also those that said that I orchestrated the event. There were those that said that I did it to get position, or this, that, and the other. Even members of my own tribe. Were a complicated lot. So to really just avoid everything, I dropped the job and left. That's it. Now I'm a ghost story. The boogeyman, if you will.
You make that a habit, Lucas.
We do a weird job amongst our kind. There's you. And yes, I was raised around Silver Fang, so I have a decent amount of experience. You guys stand on the hill. You point the direction to go. You point us at the enemy, and you cheer us on as we face them head on. But before we can get there, certain things have to be done. Certain things have to be taken out. We work where other people don't want to work. So the idea of a boogeyman, it's not a bad thing. It's just a necessity.
Well, I can't speak to what really happened or how all of that went down. Nobody really knows that here but you. When I spoke of habits, I meant, do you make it a habit of undermining what you've been told and leaving your people? Or is this a one-time thing?
There wasn't much good I was going to do there. Right, we're all in the fight. The fight is the most important thing. And it's not like I charge off headlong with red in my eyes. No, I don't make it a habit of leaving people, but if I am rendered incapable, or if I am told that I am wrong, and a decision is made, and that decision is wrong, I think that's my duty to disobey it.
I will say that I think they did a disservice by not at least trusting you in that decision. But sometimes decisions are made, and sometimes you may think that they're the wrong decision, but the decision is made.
If everybody walks away alive, yeah. If a decision is made and our numbers are lessened and our capacity is worse, it doesn't matter if the decision was made. It was a bad decision.
Would you prefer that to be your choice to make those decisions?
The last thing I want is to be the person making those decisions. The absolute last thing, Aspen. Believe me. I think I'm more comfortable in a position telling the person making the decisions whether I think they're good or bad. Or being in a position working for that person, doing the things that that person doesn't want to do or doesn't think should be the weight that goes on other people's shoulders, if you understand what I'm saying.
I completely understand. And I also understand we don't really have a trust between us yet. So a lot of things will be difficult and a learning curve, right? That's just getting to know anyone. But go ahead.
How about this? You know of a really awful thing that happened to me. Tell me about a bad decision you made.
All right, I'll tell you a story. I'm sure I'll tell you lots of stories. Actually, Jester will probably tell you lots of stories. She's great at it. Well, we had a situation. It's been a long-going situation where we dealt with Ryder. You heard a little bit about him. Ryder was someone here from the old Cairn that stuck around, him and Eliza. Ryder was suffering, and we did our best to reach out, but the gain versus the potential problems that would come our way caused suspicion and worry in a lot of us. So we went on a job with him. Things happened. Explosives that weren't supposed to be there were there, and Ryder made his executive decision. And, well, if you haven't heard the news of all of that, there was a problem at Duke Energy. This is all a bit of a backstory for you, really, because the bad decision I made was pulling away from him because of the bad decision he made, and outcasting him for a while, making him his own island when he needed us. And because of that, he's no longer around, and that'll be a decision that I have to live with.
So you made the mistake. You made the call and you lost somebody.
I did.
It's fair. That's what I'm getting at. Like, I respect you as a pack leader, whether you understand my purpose or not. I am a bragabash, and believe me, I've talked to Artie at the party, and we are very different, bragabash. Very different. I respect what he does, and I do, but I am the one that's going to question you. And whether I make you double guess, it's up to you.
I appreciate people telling me the hard truths, so I think we'll get along in that respect in a lot of ways. I wish there was somebody there fighting for Ryder when everything was said and done. I think his story concluded the way he wanted to, but if there was a way to change that to a happier ending, I would have. And I'm sure in your own story, if there was a way to change that to a happier ending, you would have as well.
It's complicated, being what I am and seeing what I see and carrying what I carry. And I'll motion to the leather harness he has and the clave on his back. These things, they're not for what people think they're for. They're not for great, honorable warfare. They're made of silver. They really only have one purpose. And I wished that we didn't have to do the things we have to do to kill our own kind. And I wish that we could find the ones that have strayed from the path and bring them back. And that's really what I hoped for when I found that scenario. But, I mean, the nation is what the nation is now. It's complicated. We both know that. And sometimes politics get in the way of the right decision. So let's just make a deal between you and me that we're not going to let that be what happens between this Shadow Lord and this Silver Fang.
Well, there'll probably plenty of potential issues between you and I. You know, we have very different, but I think we can make that promise not to let politics interfere with our potential hate for each other, right?
It's a healthy hate. I mean, I'm gonna give you shit. You're gonna yell at me. Everybody's gonna talk about it. It's a conversation starter. It's fine. I'm not gonna have any hurt feelings.
Well, good. I do want to know, since this is, I guess, going to be 20 questions to try my best to get to know you. Do you know what you're getting yourself into?
No, to be completely honest, I haven't had the time to really have good conversations with everybody. I'm glad that I got to talk to you first, but I mean, sitting at a truck stop somewhere in Pennsylvania and a star appears on the seat next to me and tells me that I need to go somewhere. I imagine this is going to get really weird and complicated real fast. And no, I'm not ready for it, but you know, I'm here. I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to cause some problems.
Well, you're on the right track. Weird and complicated is what we do here, so.
Perfect.
We do have a lot of issues as far as the leeches within the city. Is that something you have any knowledge or any aversion to?
How much do you know about Chicago?
Not much. I've been here my whole life. Not
While
really.
back.
I actually.
A while back, things were really complicated between our kind and their kind in Chicago. I mean, buckets of blood in the streets. Bad, complicated. This was way before my time, but you know, they still tell stories. It went pretty awful on both sides. But in the end, we took our licks, but I think we gave more than we got. And so any young guru growing up in Chicago gets told the stories and they get taught the basics. And yeah, that's a situation, that's a group that I could help out with.
Well, good, because we're going to need a lot of help with that. Seems we could very much potentially be going on the offense when it comes to that situation specifically.
Have you guys had any run-ins with any of them yet?
That's a conversation to have with Jester, I think.
Okay.
We did have, with the Duke energy, we did have some run-ins as far as that goes as well, but I think the most dangerous one, Jester could tell you more about. We also have an issue with another lawyer. Baitman is a potential problem, but there's so many problems. I could tell you all about every single one. Also, potential cult issues, so that is something. We have plenty of time to catch you up on everything. With the whole pack, I think the whole pack should be together when we catch up on every single detail of every single thing. But I wanted to see what your goal was here. What did you want from this?
It's a good question. Not really something that I've given a fair amount of thought into, but I think this is starting to line up as something that works for me. As long as I work for you guys, I think that this could be a interesting and profitable partnership.
The forge is lit. The hammer has struck the iron a few times, but it is a long way from taking shape. As Aspen and Lucas continue their walk and continue their conversation, the subject of leeches and the threat they pose is something that has started to weigh heavier more than ever on Aspen's mind after having been revealed the photos of Bloody Mary and the activities around 100 North Tampa. So we move on to our final scene of the evening. Aiden, as the outrider, the scout, the kinseeker, and also the heaviest hitter the pack has to offer at this time, you've been tasked with the job of starting to get an idea of what it is you're up against. Aspen has tasked you with staking out and scouting out around the offices of Ballard, Anderson, and Baitman in downtown Tampa, deep in the heart of the suburban sprawl of the city. The location? 100 North Tampa, a large spire of the Weaver's brilliance that reaches higher up in the sky, piercing the heavens more than any other structure in the city. Now, being on the Florida coast, there are certain hazards with building too tall, but this structure stands in defiance more than any of the other skyscrapers in the city. It reaches high and it pierces the heart of the clouds up above. Set the scene for me, when would you want to scout, and what would you be looking for?
So, he'd want to go during the day, starting out, because he knows that the leeches aren't going to be out, and so he's wanting to know what this building has to offer during the day. Trying to fight leeches at night would cause more issues than anything currently, so he wants to know what they have to offer during the daytime.
So taking to the streets by day, it's a crowded metropolis. There are people moving up and down the streets. Now, it doesn't rival New York or any of the major cities, but it is a busy thoroughfare. So heading down there during the day, you would have to do so in your Hamid form to escape any suspicion or to cause any bit of a stir. But you walk along the streets and you see people going about their daily lives, humans moving almost like bees around a hive, all of them with tasks and jobs and a busyness to them that takes their attention, or a majority of their attention, to the point that they seem to pay no mind to one another or to you and your presence. You can see panhandlers occasionally along the street, the homeless population very present in this area, though most of them retreating to shadowed alleyways or anywhere they can stay cool as the temperatures continue to spike and summer sets in. You can see businessmen in suit and tie. You can see tourists and travelers with their cameras at the ready, taking shots of the architecture or of the various sculptures and artwork that is prominently on display in some of the more touristy areas and neighborhoods. As you're walking along, it's not hard to spot your quarry off in the distance, as the building is noticeable despite being surrounded by other tall structures. This one stands out almost like a castle on a hill, a well fortified structure of modern technology. As you grow closer and trying to keep a reasonable distance away, as this is more reconnaissance and less incursion, you take in the facility. It is of modern brilliance. Large glass windows stretching high up into the sky, a prominent entryway that has plenty of space out front of it, not allowing it to be crowded. And you even see security guards, men in suits, that seem to occasionally look out the entryway, and if any crowds start to gather, they disperse those crowds and keep them moving. There are no panhandlers immediately around the vicinity of this building. It is just business in this area. Not a lot of gawkers, not a lot of looky-loos. Everyone is quick to pass by this particular building. Taking it in, go ahead and roll me a wits and awareness check.
Four.
As you look, there's nothing that necessarily stands out, but your eye is drawn to security cameras that seem to be positioned very, very well above the doorway, taking in a grand view of not just the doors, but the street itself out front. They seem to have really good eyes on the front of this particular building. As you continue to assess the security, watching guards make their rounds, there's even a doorman standing out front who seems to open the doors for people coming in and going as if it were a fancy hotel rather than just a business or business building with several different facilities taking up various floors amongst the building. You notice something off to one of the corners of the building. Despite the fact there has been an absence of panhandlers at this facility, there is one individual who seems to be perched up against one of the walls and with an inquisitive gaze is looking over the building itself in a very similar fashion to you. What stands out about this individual is they're not dressed in a business suit. They don't seem to be looking like they belong here. If anything, they look exactly the opposite. And what is even more peculiar is their choice of attire, as they are clothed head to toe. They're wearing long, long sleeves and gloves on their hands. They have a large crochet, wide-brimmed hat with a tall point coming off the top of it that just seems to flap off to one side. They have a handkerchief that is drawn up over their nose and mouth, and large sunglasses covering their eyes that are very, very dark. And they have a poncho that seems to hang off of a majority of their frame, dipping down to just below their knees, which wear long jeans and sneakers down at the bottom. Despite the hot, hot weather, this person is bundled up as if they were in the frozen tundra.
Aiden's gonna try and wrap his head around that because he's sweating. You said they're standing off to the corner.
Yeah, they seem to be perched at the corner of the building, but they're looking towards the front door, then looking along the street that comes down the corner from it.
Yeah, Aiden's going to make his way over, keeping an eye on things around him, and then approach the cloaked individual.
Are you doing so with direct purpose, or are you attempting to just seem like you're passing by? Are you trying to be discreet about it?
It's trying to just look more like a tourist,
Okay.
taking in the overall sights.
Give me a wits and subterfuge roll.
Okay. 1.
So, as you attempt to blend into some of the throngs of people that are crossing the street, this individual stops looking at the building and immediately looks over in your direction and starts to move along the side of the building, moving away from their corner that they're perched at.
Right. Not knowing that he's really been caught, if someone looked at him, he's gonna try and follow them, thinking he's doing a great job at blending in.
Okay. As you follow along the side of the building, you come upon one of those alleyways that looks like it would be a shipping and receiving alleyway. There is less windows on this side until several floors up, and it's snuggled up gently against another building. And the individual ducks down that alleyway and starts walking away further into the alleyway. As you reach the corner and turn, are you going to continue to follow them down the alleyway, or are you going to just keep walking along the street?
Is there any people down the alleyway, or is it just them?
There doesn't appear to be anyone else in the alleyway at this point.
Okay.
There is a truck that's positioned in the alleyway. It looks like they had either are in the process of making a delivery or had made a delivery to the building itself.
Okay. Aiden's gonna make his way down there and eventually call out, "Excuse me, quick question."
As you call out, their head whips around to take you in, and then a moment later, they just start running down the alleyway.
Haven't had a good run for a bit.
All right,
chase him.
Go ahead and give me a dexterity and athletics roll as you are running, having to dodge some of the detritus in the alleyway itself.
6 with a crit.
With 6 successes, you make very, very quick work of this pursuit. You can catch up to him. Are you looking to cut them off, or are you looking to actually get to them from behind and grab them?
Just try and cut them off, get around to being in front of them.
Okay, so it's no work whatsoever. You immediately pass them and then turn to face them. As they see you, they try to stop short, but instead end up tripping on their own feet and falling to the ground in front of them. As they speak, you hear a male's voice say, "Listen, man, I don't know what you're looking for, but I'm not sure I can help you."
Well, here, let me help you up. He's gonna pick him up. Yeah, hey, and like dust him off. Hey, there you go.
As you dust him off, you can see that the handkerchief has dropped a little bit, and it's a young man, probably in his very, very late teens, maybe early 20s. He has very, very pale skin, but it is not unusual. I mean, it's unusual for this location, but considering how they are dressed, you assume that they must be avoiding tanning as best as possible.
Sorry to chase you. And, I'm really good at tag, and that just kind of kicked in from early on. Anyways, curious one, why are you dressed like this?
I sunburn really easily.
Oh,
It's one of those
recommend sunscreen.
conditions. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they make sunscreen powerful enough. Are you a cop?
No.
Because if you're a cop, you'd have to tell me. That's like law, right?
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
I think so. I
Right.
think that's how that works.
Because you got the look of an undercover police officer.
I don't know.
What's up? What do you want?
I saw that you were taking. I like buildings, and I saw you looking at this building, and I was wondering what you thought of it.
It's an office building. I mean, I read somewhere that it's the tallest building in the city. Just, wanted to see it for myself.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Do you know anyone in there, or are you just kind of looking at it?
I don't. I wouldn't say I know anyone inside. Well, just looking.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What's your interest in it?
Like I said, I like buildings, and you said it's the tallest one, so I had to come and see it for myself.
Go ahead and roll me a manipulation and subterfuge roll.
Three.
Cool. You know, they say it's really cool to look at if you're augmented. Do you have any interest in that kind of thing?
What's augmented?
Oh. All right. You cool?
I'm a little warm, but I'm doing all right.
I mean, high. You ever gotten high before?
Yeah, once. Weird experience.
Oh, yeah. Well, first time's trippy for everyone. Listen. If you want a really good view of the building, I got just the thing for you.
Okay.
And he reaches into his poncho and rifles around a little bit, and then he pulls out a strip of paper. And on the strip of paper, there's a little gelatin capsule that is in the shape of a wizard's hat. Just put this in your mouth. You'll see amazing things. You're not a cop, right? Because if you are, this is candy.
Wait, is it candy?
Yeah, it's candy.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Yeah, I'll do this later, but appreciate it. What's your name? Mr. I don't like
You can just
sun?
call me the magician.
The magician.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't you get the whole thing? Yeah.
Look at your cool hat.
Robe.
Yeah. Are you here often? So if I need more of this,
I'm here to settle a score.
like a game?
Sure, you could call it that.
Okay, cool.
Let's just say I knew somebody from here, but they're not around anymore, and I got a bit of a bone to pick with the people that still are around here. They got fired from their job.
Well, I'm sure they didn't deserve it.
No, they didn't. So what? God, I can't believe I'm talking this much. What do you do, friend? What's your name? Let's start with that. What's your name?
My name's Aiden.
Aiden. All right. And you see him reach into the poncho, pull out what looks to be a flask of some sort, take the flask and drink it. Aiden.
Yeah.
You're not from around here, are you?
No.
After a moment, you see his eyes behind the large sunglasses grow a little bit glossy. I had heard taught.
Heard what?
You think you could help me, Aiden?
Maybe. What do you need?
I mean, I did give you some candy. So, do you think you could go in there for me?
In the building?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can walk in with you. I'm sure you can walk into a building.
Not dressed like this. Did you see the people going in there? They're all in suits and shit. They'd look at me like I was crazy.
Do I look like I'm wearing a suit?
No, but I think you'd blend in better than I would.
Yeah, sure. I can go take a look. Like I said, I like buildings, so I guess I can take a look on the inside.
Yeah, just go in and tell me what you see. That's all I'm asking. In the lobby.
That's the front area, right?
Yeah. When you just walk through the doors, take a look around. Just come back and tell me what you see.
All right, and you'll be right here.
Scout's honor, not going anywhere.
Cool. Yeah, I'll go take a look. I'll be right back. But Mr. Magician.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Be right back. He'll make his way.
Step out of the alleyway. Walk
When
around.
he takes can he look and see the street signs to see where exactly he's at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the question is, can Aiden read?
He writes. I'm assuming.
Then I guess he could read. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you take note of the intersection of the streets here as you're making your way back out onto the street and up to the corner and around the front of the building, and you head to the doors that lead in to the building itself. As you approach, one of the doormen step up and push the door open for you and give you a nod as you pass by and head into the lobby of the building itself. There is a large reception desk in the lobby. Most of the building itself is made of marble. The walls themselves almost have a gleam to them from the light coming in from the outside. The windows are slightly shaded so that the light comes in, but it's not as harsh as it is out on the street. It doesn't magnify the light and heat up the building as some of the modern buildings down here have. And you make your way through, taking in the surrounds of the lobby. Go ahead and roll a wits and investigation.
Three.
So as you look, you see a few more of those security cameras are set up. You see two individuals sitting at the reception desk. One is a nicely attired businesswoman, probably a receptionist, sitting behind in a pantsuit, who is typing away at a keyboard, and there's a dock of phones. But you also see an individual dressed in a security guard's uniform with a badge that is also watching a bank of monitors. There is a staircase that leads up off to one side, doors that go through stairs, but primarily there's a bank of elevators that seem to go up to various facilities up above. As you look over the list of businesses, there's Ballard, Anderson, and Baitman. There's a cyber security firm. There's a art trading company that seems to be taking up residence here, although it looks like the nameplate of the art trading company is still fairly new. It's one of the newer businesses that's moved into the facility. But there's just a list of other businesses. Now, taking in where those businesses are located by the elevators, you can see that Ballard, Anderson, and Baitman is near the top, but not the top floors. In fact, the top floors only have Tampa Management Company.
An odd name.
Roll me a intelligence and awareness check.
Can I use a will?
Yeah.
Cool. 5.
Looking at the businesses, looking at the floors, and using your assessment from outside, there are more floors than are listed here. In fact, what they say is the top floor isn't the top floor. There are actually floors above it, but they don't seem to have any business plate, nameplate, anything associated with them.
I'm going to take another quick look. Can I do a quick camera check on the inside? Like how many are actually in?
Sure. Go ahead. Give me a... Well, we'll just go with your wits and investigation roll.
Okay.
You can see that there are a couple of cameras, 2 cameras near the bank of elevators, primarily directed at the elevator doors themselves. And in the main lobby area, it looks like there are cameras in each corner trying to cover as much of the lobby as possible. From what you can ascertain, there doesn't appear to be a blind spot.
All right. Think I've looked in this lobby long enough. He'll take another quick look and then try and figure out why there's not plates for these higher floors and then make his way out.
Okay. So turning around and exiting the facility, you get back onto the street. Where are you headed next?
Next he's going to he'll just send so he doesn't forget, a quick text to Aspen about the information that he did acquire, and then try and make way back towards the alleyway and look down it and see if Magician is still there.
You see the man you were speaking to leaned up against a wall. Looks like they have a cell phone out, although it's a outdated cell phone to say the very least. It looks like a flip phone, in fact, that they are just typing away at as you approach. And as you get closer, they snap the phone shut and put it into their pocket. What'd you see?
A lot of cameras, some people. Got a lot of elevators.
Yeah. Yeah, I would assume a building this tall would. You wouldn't want to go up all those steps, would you?
Well, maybe. Sound like fun.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
So, did you happen to see... what kind of businesses did you see?
There's a painting one, a computer one, and then a management company.
The painting one. Did you happen to see what floor it was on? It was on the 20th.
Upper floors, I think. I know that it's one of the newer ones in there. That the placard that all of them are on, that one's pretty shiny. So newer. I actually didn't count all the way up, but I know it was upper, but not the top.
And did it have a lot of cameras?
A fair amount. Oh, a building like this. It's got a lot of companies in there. They want to protect it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That makes sense. Okay. But hey, Aiden, I appreciate you so much. This was good. Good to know.
Yeah.
If you like the candy, let me give you my card. He reaches again under the poncho and rustles around, and he pulls out a Post-it note that has it hand scratched in there, the Magician, and a phone number. Give that a try, and if you like it, give me a call sometime. Really appreciate the help.
Of course. You have a great rest of your day. Avoid the sun.
Always try to. And call me Spud.
Spud.
And with that, we'll bring our scene to a close. Thank you so much to our amazing players who made this session possible. Thank you so much to all of you watching at home. Go check out St. Pete by Night on all the social media listed down below and in the description. Go give these players a follow. You'll see their social media in the end credits. We're back, and Season 2 is off to a roaring start. It is the hunt for Bloody Mary, but it's not going to be easy if the first season is any indication. So thank you for watching. This week, we've got Don't Get Caught on Thursday. We've got What the Hell Is That? Our Hunter the Reckoning Chronicle on Friday. On Saturday, we've got a very, very special After Dark with Rachel from Port Saga, another Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle. We're going to be having a great conversation with her. And then on Sunday, we've got Bloody Strings. Next Tuesday, we'll be back with another Rage Across Tampa. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful evening. Goodbye, everyone.
This has been a St. Petersburg by Night production. Reach Across Tampa is produced in agreement with World of Darkness and Dark Pact. The storyteller for Rage Across Tampa is Kent. Tonight's characters were voiced by Preston, Champ, Noree, and Walks. Visit our website at stpbynight.com for more information about all of our productions and how you can become part of our community. Thank you for listening. Until next time, fangs, stakes, and claws out.